Hi, Gregory Klump here, CREA's Chief Economist, on the newly revised and extended forecast for home sales via the multi-listing service systems of Canadian real estate boards. What a difference a year makes. The year 2009 started off with national resale housing activity at the lowest level in a decade and finished the year at its highest level on record. So we're looking at a very strong handoff for sales activity going into 2010. With the Canadian economic growth rebounding from the recession, the unusually severe decline in sales activity in early 2009 is not expected to recur in 2010, so national activity this year is forecast to climb well above levels last year. Led by British Columbia and Ontario, half of all provinces are forecast to post double-digit increase in sales activity this year. CREA forecasts that national activity will climb annually by 13.3% in 2010 to just over 527,000 units. This would represent a new annual record for the national sales activity, surpassing the previous peak in 2007 by 1.2%. National home sales activity should remain strong in the first half of 2010, fueled by low interest rates and home buyers motivated to avoid the HST before it comes into effect on Canada Day in Ontario and British Columbia. Over the second half of the year, national activity is expected to trend downward as the last of pent-up demand is exhausted, interest rates begin rising, and the HST comes into effect in Ontario and British Columbia. The persistence of these factors will contribute to weaker national sales activity in 2011. National MLS home sales activity is forecast to decline by 7.1% to 490,100 units in 2011, putting it on par with annual levels reported in 2005 and 2006. Turning now to the average price forecast, the national average home price is forecast to climb by 5.4% in 2010 to reach a record $337,500. Average price gains are forecast in all provinces. In 2011, the national average price is forecast to ease by 1.5%. Modest average price gains are forecast for all provinces except British Columbia and Ontario, whose share of national activity is expected to ease. That shift in the contribution by those provinces toward national activity will continue skewing the annual comparison in the national average price in 2011. The price trend is similar but less dramatic for the weighted national average price, which compensates for changes in provincial sales activity by taking into account provincial proportions of privately owned housing stock. The weighted national average price is forecast to climb by 4.8% in 2010 and remain stable in 2011. Improved financial market stability and recovering global economic growth mean that sales activity in 2010 is unlikely to repeat the dive it experienced in late 2008 and early 2009. Fiscal restraint, a strong Canadian dollar, and a subdued inflation outlook point to marginal interest rate increases over the next couple of years, especially if the U.S. economic recovery proves to be weak and protracted. So while interest rates are expected to rise, they'll still be low enough to keep affordability within reach for many home buyers requiring mortgage financing and support overall housing demand. The Bank of Canada will need time to gauge the effect of interest rate increases on Canadian economic growth. It recognizes that consumer debt burdens are running high, so it'll want to gauge the impact of interest rate hikes on domestic demand and overall economic growth. The bank expects the private sector to lead economic growth once temporary government stimulus spending expires, so the timing and magnitude of interest rate hikes will be tricky, since changes in interest rates impact the economy with a lag. A downward trend in national sales activity, combined with an increase in listings, will result in a more balanced resale market this year and in 2011. And while builders are understandably more upbeat than they were during the depth of the recession, speculative building will likely continue to be held in check. As a result, while real estate will become more balanced, Canada will continue to avoid the massive realignment in housing supply and demand being experienced in the U.S. CREA will soon be releasing resale housing statistics for January 2010, and activity is expected to remain strong, so stay tuned for more good news.